Piercers training, experience, and licensing coming up next. And New to Piercing, episode number 3. For those that are new to the channel, welcome to the Body Piercing and Tattooing channel. Hope you're enjoying the videos, hope you're finding them useful and helpful, but you may not know who I am. My name is DaVo. I'm a professional body piercer and have been since 1994. I own and I operate the Axiom Body Piercing studio located right here in Des Moines, Iowa, inside Skin Kitchen Tattoo. So I'm going to go through some of the things that you want to consider when picking your piercer, and kind of maybe hopefully clear up some confusion over that. Training, etc., licensing, etc., and kind of give you a clear idea of what to look for and what really doesn't mean anything. Starting off with a piercing apprenticeship. A piercing apprenticeship usually lasts anywhere from 2 to 3 years. The reason why it's important is it is supervised by an experienced or well-experienced piercer, so there's somebody there to guide them through the process, help them correct issues they may have, jump in if mistakes are made and fix them, etc. Most of these programs have kind of a checklist that goes through where they have to check out on each individual piercing. That's what I do before they're unleashed on the general public. You are also always informed if you're getting pierced by the apprentice that, hey, I'm an apprentice, just so you know. The biggest thing is an experienced piercer decides when they are ready to pierce on their own. It isn't a situation where, well, we went for 4, it's been 2 years, so I know what I'm doing, because piercing is an ongoing education. There's always new information coming out, better techniques, better methods, etc. And, it involves researching and developing and having the passion to do that. But at that point in time when a piercer goes, okay, you know what? You're no longer an apprentice, you're a piercer. It really needs to be somebody that understands what they're going to need in their toolbox to succeed as a piercer and not be harmful to others. The other thing is they have the ongoing support of their mentor as far as support, education, further research. This can be very important, especially with people that do their apprenticeship in one city and move to another city or country, and suddenly they're on their own piercing and they're confused by something, to be able to contact their mentor and go, hey, I need help with this, and their mentor to be there and be supportive and help. The next kind of thing this next thing leads to a lot of confusion. Training and seminars. Training and seminars is usually a 3 to 4 day course. Schools, the piercing school thing kind of is the same thing, because they usually don't. I need to do more research on it, but from what I can gather, they're like, we'll teach you to pierce in 8 weeks. The thing is that these are kind of more of a precursor of entering an apprenticeship. It is a way of getting kind of some of the basic skills and knowledge to build on during the apprenticeship, kind of give you a jump start. Or it's a situation where someone's been piercing for a long period of time and they want to brush up on their skills. Maybe you get introduced to some new methods or some new ways of thinking or doing things. Seminars are not a, yes, they know what they're doing kind of situation. The other types of training that are good and really great, especially if they're starting an apprenticeship, would be if they also are, first aid certified, if they have gone through I don't know one studio that doesn't make you do this now, or state, you have to go through the bloodborne pathogen certification tests, and you have to do it on a regular basis. Having that knowledge and that added expertise is important, but it still isn't enough with this. I did a 4-day seminar, and then I did this, and I took first aid, so now I know what I'm doing. That isn't the case. You still need an apprenticeship attached to that. You need that long-term supervision to gain the knowledge to do it correctly. Next, I want to talk about experience. Experience is very important, but it's also kind of a loaded gun. There are those that are experienced that have continued to educate themselves on piercing. They've adapted new methods, new jewelry, and they've done the research and learned new things. And there's those ones that the minute they finish their apprenticeship, they knew everything. It works. I don't need to change. So it's kind of trying to, experience is important. It is important, but at the same time, if it's the right experience, is kind of a little difficult to see when you're just like, yeah, he's been piercing or they've been piercing for this long. So a couple of things you want to look at is that piercer using modern techniques? And that's kind of hard to know unless you know a little bit about piercing. Just some kind of hints. They should be using titanium jewelry. They should offer it widely. They should offer modern designs like threadless jewelry. They should primarily pierce in bars, in stud-style jewelry. They shouldn't be using anything with butterfly blacks or piercing things with rings that aren't meant to be pierced with rings, etc. Are they using guide pins? Are they changing their gloves 3 to 4 times with one client? Are they washing their hands on a regular basis? Stuff like that will kind of give you a clue into whether or not they're using that 1990s knowledge or that 2024 knowledge. Other things you want to look at is, has that career been continuous? Is it a situation where, yeah, they've been piercing for 5 years, but they've pierced in 10 different studios? If that is the case, it can mean a couple different things. They may have traveled around the country learning new techniques and different techniques from different piercers, and they'll be very proud of that and willing to share. The other version is that in that 5 years, there's been constant problems with them piercing, and they've floated from one studio to another studio to another studio to another studio because they probably aren't really up to par. The other thing you always want to look at is, regardless of what type of studio they're piercing in, does it have a good reputation? When you talk to people about it, that have had experiences there, are they positive? Are the reviews good? Is the place clean? Is a place you feel comfortable in? That kind of thing. That really can dictate the personality of the piercer and kind of what level their passion's at. Last thing I'm going to talk about is licensing and professional organizations, mainly the Association of Professional Piercers. Kind of to give you an idea of what that means. With government licensing, it is basically the bare minimum of what's required to operate a studio. They're going to have requirements on doing spore testing on the autoclave it varies greatly from state to state. The thing about it is, it never really, most of them, some of them do, but a majority of them do not really focus on the experience level, skill level, or the training of the person who is doing the piercing. Some cases, they have stipulation of how long they have to train, but it's all the bare minimum. Then it goes into the actual majority of what the licensing is not the individual, but the studio itself. This is going to be things like moppable floors, lighting, having an autoclave, having a separate area for cleaning things, sinks where they can wash their hands, that kind of stuff. And most of these inspections, when they do happen, the person who's going to inspect it is the same guy that's going to inspect that Greasy Spoon diner down on the corner after he gets done here. They don't really have much knowledge of what to look for or what's important when it comes to piercing, like the things that should be triggers that things aren't right here. So it's not always licensing, stated government issued licensing is, yes, they're holding up the minimum requirements. But it does not mean that they know what they're doing, that they're using proper jewelry, or anything else. It just means they're doing the bare minimum to try to make sure that you don't get sick. Next thing, professional organizations. The biggest one with piercing is the Association of Professional Piercers. So we'll talk about them. I'm not a member, and there's a lot of reasons for that I do not want to go into on this video anyway. And I think I've gone about it on another one. Anyway. At one point, and I was looking on their website just recently because it's been a while since I even looked at it, they used to require that there was verification of either the experience of the piercer or that they had some formal training or apprenticeship. I didn't see that on there anymore, but I think they may still require referrals of some sort. The next thing they require to be a member is that you are in a business that has been licensed by the government. So if you're in an area of the world where they do regulate piercing, then you have a piercing license. If you're not, then I guess any business license will do. Next, they make you take a videotape walking through your entire shop, opening cabinets and etc., and submit it to them through YouTube. You must have bloodborne pathogen certification. We've talked about that already. There has to be a copy of a third-party spore testing on your sterilizer, autoclave, and it has to be done monthly. They want copies of forms like waiver forms and also copies of aftercare instructions, etc., that you use. The other thing is liability insurance if it's available. And this is kind of the important part. Unlike most of the states on regulation of piercing, the APP does require you to submit the last 90 days of jewelry purchases, especially jewelry that you're initially going to pierce with, so they can kind of verify that it is actually coming from legit sources. Most state licensing and government licensing has no mention whatsoever of material other than, it should be body friendly, and that's about it. I know that there are some states that ask that you submit third-party certification. I think there was something about that on the EU. I don't know that. That's not my expertise. But with government licensing, you have no idea what type of jewelry they're selling, and in most cases, the government doesn't want to get involved with that. And the last one would be a copy of a mill certificate from one of the jewelry companies if requested. So basically, in both of those situations, government licensing is probably about here, so they're doing the bare minimum to make sure you don't catch something. APB is about here, but the thing that neither of them really concentrate on is the skill, expertise, and etc. These people that are APP piercers, most of them are very great individuals, passionate, well-educated, etc., are great. But there are new members that have never met anyone else from the APP. They've never seen them pierce. They have no idea how they run things on day-to-day. They don't know how clean that shop looks when they aren't taking a 360-degree video walkthrough and posting it to YouTube. It's kind of one of those things where it helps, but it's kind of the biggest goal is trying to set a standard. And the thing about it is, for me anyway, is that anybody working in this industry should already have those standards. Well, that's it. Did I bring up any other questions you may have? Please make a comment. I don't want to get in a huge debate about the APP. Wonderful organization, whatever. I'll be here in my own little corner of the world. Have fun. Till next time, here's hoping all your piercing still with ease without a single issue. And if you're in the Des Moines, Iowa area, I would love to see if your body piercing needs in the future. Have a good day, everybody. Take care. We'll see you in that next video.